ZD Toys Wolverine modifications. Let's get into it. But of course, before everything starts, I just want to remind you guys that I do have memberships available now, along with a Patreon. The Patreon will be in the description, and if you want to join the memberships, it's just right next to the subscribe button on the homepage. And if you do join, you'll get some things like special perks, like tutorial videos, behind the scenes. You get to watch the videos a day early, and you get your name shouted out at the end of every video. So if you're interested in that and you want to help support me financially to hopefully turn this into my full-time job, that would be amazing. So if you do, or if you've already done that, thank you very much. And that's about it. So let's get into this dang video, guys. Upper body, we're doing some upper body. Yeah, that's right, the upper body mods. Yeah.
So I didn't do much here for the neck. This is just the default neck. And the way I stuck this head on, if you try this, then you know it's not that, it doesn't fit the peg. But I just put a little bit of sticky tack in there, and it fills up the gaps, or the openings, and helps it stick onto the peg well enough. I'm probably going to also carve out a bit of the neck here to give it more articulation, but that'll be a mod for later. Other than that, I didn't do any mods to the neck. It still has pretty good, decent articulation for the neck there. Moving on to the shoulder pads here, I did the same mod that I did for my custom version. If you haven't seen that video, please check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. But what I did was I added straps. Let me take it apart for you guys. As you can see, I added a face mask strap that I super glued onto two sides, and then I would loop it around here and plug it into the body, which allows for full range of motion without any hindrance, and still have the shoulder pad on without you needing to glue it onto the body. So yeah, still looks really, really good. Coming back to the arm here, I want to explain what I did. So if you have the ZD Toys, then you know that this is the ball peg, the ball joint that comes on the ZD Toys Wolverine arm. So what I did was I cut off the ball joint, and then I drilled a hole all the way through it. You can see it right there. And I drilled a hole through the Marvel Legends Wolverine arm as well. And I stuck a paper clip straight through like this and super glued it on both sides. That way, I still have the functioning shoulder while also having a peg that now connects into the butterfly joint right here. Now, speaking of the butterfly joint, as you can see here, I completely hollowed out the butterfly joint. If you have the ZD Toys, then you know that this opening is a lot smaller than this. I'll have a picture of how it looked like before I painted it. Now, this allows for the ball area of the Marvel Legends, because as you can see, there's a bulbous part of the Marvel Legends arm that sticks out a lot. And if you try without doing the hollowing of the butterfly joint, it'll like stick out kind of like this. So in order to prevent that and have it sit into the torso better, I hollowed it out completely, and now you have something that looks a lot more natural. Now the next modification that I did revolves around the ab section and the waist section. If you have the ZD Toys, then you know that the articulation for the abs is pretty trash. It's pretty trash. This is about how much it bends. It doesn't bend much. So I did some mods to it. So I've seen a couple of people on Instagram where they hollow out this as well, but I decided not to do that, and I'm going to show you why. If you look inside of here, right, it never touches that peg. It never touches it at all. So hollowing it out does nothing. So if you're going to do a mod to increase the articulation, instead do what I did right over here. I did a little bzz, 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 with the Dremel, and if you get your ZD Toys and you try to articulate it, you'll notice that this right here clashes with the base right here. So like on the right side right here, I'm going to show you, because I didn't do any added articulation there. See that? It bumps into that. It bumps into it. So that's what's hindering the articulation. So what I did was, I did the quick old, little bit of a bzz, 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 right there. And now it's able to clear it a bit more. See? It clears it a lot more compared to over there. And that's how you increase the articulation for right over there. For this next part, excuse Logan's new look, but in order to show you guys how to further improve the upper articulation, I'm gonna have to strip him naked like so. If you look here, what I did was I cut away a bit of this block right there, right? If you have the ZD toys, you could see that if it comes down to about here, it would usually stop right about here because there is a big chunk of plastic down here that clashes with this upper part. So what you want to do is you want to remove this part right here. I'm going to show you a closer look. I took an X-Acto knife and I just trimmed away at the material here until it gave me enough clearance to bring it all the way down like that. And that's how you increase the articulation for the abs section.
Juicy little arm mods, you know what I'm saying? We did some juicy arm mods. I mean, look how juicy them arms look. They're juicy, juicy.
For the next major mod point, we're going to be talking about the gauntlets and the arm here. And for that, I'm going to bring out this guy to explain. Yes, I have a second one. That's why I was willing to chop off the arms of the other one that I had. For this mod, you're gonna want to do two different things. You're gonna want to first chop off the gauntlet, following the gauntlet design off of the ZD toys, right? Don't forget to include this part right here because this is part of the Wolverine gauntlet design. I've seen some people on Instagram where they slice right over here, not realizing that this is also part of the design. Probably because it's painted blue. In the movie it's painted yellow like this. But yes, you're going to slice there, and you're also going to want to take, you know, your Wolverine, and you're going to want to cut just about right here, this line right here. That way you don't slice into the actual elbow joint. So you're going to cut right there, and you're going to want to make a few more cuts on this side to flatten this out. I would say to about right here. Right here, I would say is about how much you need to cut. Yeah, you can kind of see where I made my cut. See, it's a little bit cut right there. That way it slips into the gauntlet better. You're also going to want to hollow out this gauntlet so that, you know, it's like an actual gauntlet where the arm can fit into. And that's what I did. I hollowed it to just about right here with the Dremel, and that allowed me to super glue it into the gauntlet like this.
Yeah, cut them legs. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I put a little cut in that leg. Yeah, that's right. I cut a little leg. Do a little leg cut. Yeah, little legs.
Now, the next mod, which is probably the most important mod to help you fit him into scale with Marvel Legends like this, is going to be where you cut along the thighs and within the boots here, which I'm going to show you right now. For this mod here, you're going to want to make 3 different cuts. There's a pretty obvious one here, which is the one at the thigh. So what I did was I followed the bottom of this design that kind of came around on the thigh here. You'll know when you see it. It also follows this right here as well. So I made that initial cut, this angular cut, and I removed about a couple of millimeters. I'm not too sure how much I removed, but I re-glued it back into place. Here's a picture. And then I filled out these areas with some Milliput sculpting putty. So this right here is the sculpting putty that I used, Milliput. It is a 2-part sculpting putty, air drying. So comes in these 2 parts right here. You just take a little bit of it, mix it together, and then just fill in any gaps. That's what I did here. It's pretty ugly, but you don't really notice it half of the time anyway, so it's fine. So for the next 2 cuts here, they're pretty well hidden, if anything, but I made a cut right at the base of the boot. Now this is a pretty tricky one because you're going to want to follow the design of the actual boot, you know, and it's kind of slanted like this. So it's kind of tricky, but very well worth it. And then I removed most of the material from this piece, upper piece right here, like the upper calf area, and I had to drill a deeper hole that way that the peg, the original peg from the knee joint, still fits into here perfectly. I didn't do any modifications to the joint itself. I just modified this shin area, shin and calf area. So like I said, I made a cut right around here, right around this boot design, and then I super glued it back into place. Now the last and final cut is like probably the best hidden part, like the most hidden part, which is the cut that I made right above here. All I did was literally just follow this band, cut it, and then removed a bit of material. I think I removed about like this much, like from here to like here, I removed about that much, and then I super glued it back down, and that was literally it. And there you go. That is about what I did, and that was what helped shorten the figure to about where it is.
A little claw, yeah, that's right. Yeah, little claw, like we're talking like a little cat, like that's right, we got little claws right there, yeah. Yeah, little claw like a cat, yeah. Got little claws right there, yeah.
What I did, right, was I took the Marvel Legends, because I had an extra, right, an extra pair of those claw hands. I cut the claws out, just so that they're the right length, and then I cut a slot into where the claw sliders are, like the claw guards or whatever you want to call it, and then I stuck them in and glued them. And this is what I ended up with, and these claws look so much freaking better. Like, that looks so much better compared to what you get with the ZD toys. Now, I didn't really do much else other than that. I probably could have made them a little bit straighter, because look at that, it's kind of off, but it looks pretty good still. I might add some wash to it, maybe like a black wash or something, but for now this works for me, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Hey, that's a cool head, man. That's the coolest head I've ever seen, man. Man, that's a cool head, man. Where you get that head? God dang, that head looks so cool, man. That's a cool head.
A Wolverine mask looks pretty sick, right? Let's get it on him and you guys can see how it looks like all together. Yes, sure. Just look how beautiful he looks. Like, that is immaculate. Now, if you've seen my previous custom of Wolverine, then you know that his helmet doesn't have texture, but this one does. It has a textured look. Now, I don't know if I'll sell these textured heads on my eBay store. If you know, I have an eBay store. I sell 3D prints that I use for customs, and I have the untexturized version on my eBay store. But the thing is, this texturized version for some reason has a lot of issues around this area. It's always consistently around this area where it either creates this big dent or a huge seam that goes right through here, because for some reason it refuses to print that section properly. So I'm trying to figure out how to fix that, and if I do, then I'll have it on my eBay store. But for now, it's not going to be listed on there, sorry, but yeah, once I get it fixed, I'll do that. So like I said before, this is essentially the same as the last print. It just has texture now, so it could do the same thing with the removable mouth plate. Hold up, this one's a little tight. I have a little too much paint on this one. Okay, there we go. So removable mouth plate, magnet installed, and then you just do that, and bam, different expression now.
Man, it scratched him up. Man, that must have hurt, man. Look, man, a little scratching up, man. It got scratched up.
So, of course, the bullet pucks here and there from his battle with Deadpool. I used a super simple method, which was taking a cheap hobby drill from Amazon. You could get this from Amazon. I'll have links to the materials that I used in the description. But yeah, I just took this and I just literally just went doot 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 doot, and I created those bullet puck marks. And yeah, that's literally it. I also added this one little slash here because the Hot Toys version had that, so I was like, why not? But yeah, so those are about the last, yeah, like the last mods I did. Next we'll go through the paints.
Yeah, that's right. There's some paint on this thing. Yeah, there's paint somewhere on there, yeah. They got some paint on there.
I cleaned up a lot of the blues. So when you get the ZD toys, you'll notice that there's no blue in this area. And if you look at the actual suit, the blue goes up to here, and the blue actually also extends all the way back here. The ZD toys doesn't do this. This area is like all yellow and stuff. I painted it all blue all the way, and I also painted the straps black to give it that more film accurate look. So I did that to both the sides right there. See, both sides have it. It extends all the way up and all the way down, just to give it a more accurate look to the movie. I also, of course, cleaned up the blues up here and down here as well. I didn't touch any of the blues here because I like that separation, this darker blue and this more greenish blue. And yeah, I like the way that looked, so I left those alone. Some of the other things that I did was touch up the shoulder pads. The yellows here were very dull, so I went in with about two coats of Testor's yellow. I'll show all the paints at the very end, and again, I'll leave a link in the description for you guys on where I bought it. But yeah, I did that to both the sides just to give it a more brighter, saturated look. I also painted all these little pucks, these little pin divot things that are on the suit silver, because that's what they did in the movie, so I did that. But I did leave the belts black, like, I don't know, I kind of like it. It looks more coherent there. But yeah, all the rest are painted silver, including on the knee pads. I also, you know, as I mentioned before, this part isn't really painted, it's left blue, so I painted in a nice little yellow, like 2 yellow coats just to give it that pop. And I also darkened the middle section here with a nice dark blue to help it pop and stand out as well. And the last thing I did with paint to really kind of tie it all together was hit it with both a yellow wash and a very light brown wash. If you get this figure, the yellows do not look like this. If anything, it looks more like the yellows here on the glove. Very dull and like shit. So yeah, I hit it with a nice yellow wash, the same yellow I used to paint the head here. So this head has a Testor's yellow over it. That's what I use as a wash. I hit that first with the yellow wash, and then I completed everything with a very light brown wash to really make some of these details pop a bit more. And I think it turned out really good. Really ties the figure all together. So we're gonna run through the materials very quickly for you guys. We're gonna start with...
Man, you thought I wasn't here. Nah, I'm still here. Man, we talking about this X-Acto knife now. Yeah, that's right. I'm still here. Man, the materials right here. This is X-Acto knife. I use this one, yeah.
For years now, this is what I use to slice up the joints and slice up, you know, parts of the legs and the thighs. And yeah, that's literally all I used. Here's the super cheap hobby drill. Again, I'll have a link in the description for you guys. This is what I used to create the bullet puck marks. This right here is the super glue I used. Super cheap super glue. I'll leave, I believe this is on Amazon, but I got this from Target. Again, here's the sculpting thing I used. Milliput, nothing crazy. This is what Glenn Webb used. The god of customizing back in the day, you know, rest in peace Glenn Webb. But this is what I started with, and it's a really good sculpting putty. I recommend it a lot. This or Aves Apoxie Sculpt. But this is what I am currently using and what I'll be using for the time being. And lastly, we have the paints here. These are the paints that I used. Nothing crazy here. We just got these Testors. These are Testors bottles. You could also use Model Masters. They're essentially the same thing. I always say it. I use the acrylic version. You can see right there, the light blue area says acrylic. That's what I use. I don't use enamel. The enamels take forever to dry, so stick with the acrylics. I'll have a link of the starter pack that I always buy to get these. And yeah, those are the paints that I used for this guy. So final thoughts here. I'm very happy with this mod. He's going to be my stand-in until both the Marvel Legends and the Figuarts come in. I'm going to check out both of them, see how I feel, sell whichever one I don't want. But for now, this guy, he's going to be the one I'll be using for my next video, which will be Deadpool and Wolverine, Attack of the Multiverse. And for those who stuck around till the very end, here's a little teaser for you guys. So, enjoy.
Yeah, we got one of them stop motion things here. Yeah, see? One of them stop motion things, yeah. So enjoy.
Get the fuck off me!
Wait, I'm almost finished.
Finished with what?
Getting my knife out of your ass, you pervert!
Where are we now?
Not sure. Oh my god. can't be. It's really him. He's back, yes! Do you know what this means? We can get out of this place. We can get back to the TVA. Yes! Oh, what the fuck?
Hello, Wade. Logan.
Alright, so time for the end of the video shoutouts. Shout out to my YouTube members here and Patreon members. There's only 2 of you guys, and I think that's a shout out in itself because it's just the black guy and Aaron here. But major shout out to Aaron. Aaron is he's a big boy. He's a big boy helper, you know. So special shout out to Aaron here. And then for the YouTube big boy members, we got big boy helpers. We got Gregory and Hero Motion. Shout out to those 2. Those are the 2 big boy members in the YouTube memberships right now. But yeah, so like I said in the beginning, if you want to help me out, there's Patreon, there's YouTube members. You guys both get the same perks. You know, no difference whatsoever. I feel like Patreon just has less traction for some reason. Not too sure why. But that's enough of my rambling. Again, thank you to the members and the patrons. I am forever grateful. And see you guys in the next video, whenever that comes out.